you guys for being on for a minute. Let me hit OK here. That's okay. So I just want to thank you guys for being on. And like Amy said, I've done some trainings before. And I'll get into my story maybe at the end if we want. But really, what I really want to get right to the point with you guys, and I want to talk about what I want to cover with you guys today is you have everything you need to be successful in the legacy group. Like there's nothing you don't need. And I heard this quote a long time ago, and it made so much sense to me because we always think we're missing something. If I just had that one thing, I'll be successful. If I just had this perfect video. And the quote was this, it said, the problem is that we always look for the missing piece of the puzzle instead of finding a place for the one that is already in our hand. And that was like the coolest message for me because it's true. We always think we need.
Oh, sorry, Roland, mute. It's muted.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to do that. All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. So I got to listen to myself for I got to listen to myself for a few minutes. See, we all make mistakes. Who cares? We're so worried about being perfect. I've done probably 3,000 of these and I still screw it up. It don't matter. I don't care. You know what I mean? That doesn't matter. So listen, so I'll get into my story later is what I was saying. But what I want to cover today is this. We think we have, I don't think, we know we have everything to succeed in the Legacy Blueprint program. There's everything. Like I joined that a few weeks ago. I've never seen anything like it. Like there is everything there. But the problem is most of us, most of the time think we're missing one thing. We go, what is that one? Oh, if I just had Amy's story, if I just had a better camera, or if I just had the iPhone 16 instead of the iPhone 14, I know my videos would be better. If my voice was better, if I wasn't so, if my nose wasn't crooked, my nose is crooked. If my nose wasn't crooked, that's all I would need. I heard this quote and that's a bunch of crap because we have everything we need. The only thing we don't have is the confidence. We don't have the I guess the courage or the strength to avoid the opinions of other people. Those are the things, that's the only things we need, right? So I heard this quote and it said, the problem is that we always look for the missing piece of the puzzle instead of finding the place for the one that is in our hand. So we have the piece that we need, but we're always looking for something else. I remember for Christmas, we got, Julie and I, my wife, we got two puzzles. Now they were shipped in the same box. We opened the box. There were two puzzles, 500 pieces. The box was the same. The price was the same. The company that it came from was the same thing. The exact same puzzle, two different puzzles, right? Two different boxes. Everything was the same. You know what was different? The picture on the cover. That's the only thing that was different. The Legacy Blueprint is the same for everybody. It comes in the same way. You're going to buy it the same way. You're going to pay the same price. It has everything in it, everything you need, but the picture's different. You know what the picture is? It's your dreams. It's your goals. It's what you want to achieve with the digital program. Everybody's picture is different on the box. They didn't have the same picture. But again, we're always looking for, so one thing I want to share with you guys, I'm going to share a lot of things. This is one thing we do. We focus on what we don't have. We focus too much on what we don't have, like I was just saying before. So when Julie and I, when we got the puzzle, Julie's like, hey, Roland, let's put that, now we got it at Christmas time, right? Let's put the puzzle together. I'm like, oh, I just got to find that puzzle board that my mom gave us when we moved, because if I have that thing, then I could put the puzzle on it and then we could move it so it wouldn't be in the way. And then I was like, oh, but I can't find it. So let's not make it yet. If I just buy one of those fancy ones with the drawers that are on it so we can slide the pieces in and then we can move it. And I just kept putting it off because I was focused on what I didn't have. I had a box with 500-piece puzzle in it. And I had a big, huge kitchen table that I didn't use that much of it, that the 500-piece puzzle would fit on it. But I spent 2 months worrying about the stinking board when I had a whole table. So that's what we're doing. We're always chasing that something that's missing instead of looking at what's right in front of us. So many of us do it every single time. We chase success, we chase happiness because we think we need one more thing before we can move forward. Like I said, when I get this, I'm going to stop moving. I bet you there's some of you right here on, and I know maybe not in this group, but I get in the community quite a bit and I listen to the question and answers. There was one lady on there the other day said, I got to start making money, but I haven't done anything for a year. I've had it for a year and done nothing. Well, that's like buying a car and putting it in the driveway and saying, "Well, I haven't driven my car in a year. Why not? Well, I didn't put gas in it." Well, you get out of it what you put in it. You know what I mean? So we always say, I just need that one more thing. You guys have everything you don't. You just listen. You have enough to get started. You have enough to get started. When you got it, you have enough to get started, right? The second thing is this: you ignore what's already working. You're so busy looking for the perfect solution that you overlook what's already available. Instead of looking for the magic fix, what's that magic? Oh, what's the magic script? What's the magic? Oh, I bet you Amy got something in that 500 puzzle box from the legacy blueprint that I didn't get. That's why she's successful and I'm not. There must have been something different. Ask yourself this: what can I do with right now with what I've got? What can I do right now with what I've got? Chances are you're sitting on the opportunity that you can do change your life and you haven't even noticed it. Even though you bought the program, you're sitting on an opportunity and you don't even know it's there because you're so worried about looking for the perfect solution. That would have been like when we opened the puzzle and put the pieces on the table. We could have said, well, I'm going to wait until I have the perfect solution until I know where every piece of that puzzle goes before I start. The thing would still be sitting there in a big pile because I'd be too worried looking for the perfect. There is no perfect solution. You know what the perfect solution is? Do something. Do something. Right? You can't leave any footprints in the sand if you never take a step. So you have to move. The next thing is this: waiting for this is like one of the this is so good. And some of you guys might go, he's absolutely right about this. Waiting for perfect is why you're stuck. Waiting for perfect. Perfect does not exist. I can guarantee you that if you made the perfect reel in the perfect script and you had the perfect lighting and the perfect phone and you had the perfect hair and you had the perfect voice, somebody's going to find something wrong with it. If somebody wants to find something wrong with what you guys are doing, somebody is going to find it. I use the example when I talk with Frazier's clients. I say, this is just what I believe. You guys can believe what you want. There's only one perfect person. Sorry, I'm from Boston originally, so I talk fast because I get a little wound up, right? There's only one perfect person that ever walked this earth. That's just my opinion. You can believe what you want. Jesus did. He did, right? He was perfect. Listen, they spit on him. They called him a fraud. They called him a liar. They kicked him out of different towns. He couldn't even preach in his own land because they made fun of him and they called him. Listen, they found so much wrong with him. They hung him on the cross, and he was. If they want to find something wrong with you, they will. But you know what the difference is between what he did and what most of us do? Is he saw that the reason why he was here was greater than anything that would ever stop him from doing what he had to do. When you guys figure out that what you have, the digital program, it's so much more than that. You can change people's lives. But if we focus on that, we're so selfish, focusing on ourselves and worried about what other people are going to think or say, that we don't take action. And you know who's getting gypped? The people that have to hear your story, the people that have to hear the message that you shared. You know why? Because when God puts people on this earth, he gives them an assignment. And there's people out there that you're assigned to. Amy's story's not going to get them. My story's not going to get them. Susan's not going to get them. Tanya's not going to get them. But they're going to need Tanya's story. But if we're so worried about perfect and it doesn't even exist, we waste years waiting for the right time. I bet you some of you guys, I don't know because I don't know you and I could be wrong. But like I said, there's some people that have been in the legacy program for a year, maybe some more. Some of the stories I hear, they're more and they haven't done anything because they're waiting for the right time. You know when the right time was? When something in your heart and in your mind said, I need that course. That's when the time was right. But we wait so long to start a business or we chase a goal. Someday. There's 7 days on the calendar and someday isn't one of them. I keep looking for it. You know something? When I have more time, you can go buy a clock anywhere. It's only got the same amount of time. I don't care what country you live in, what world you live in, nationality, nothing matters. You only have that much time. So why are you waiting for more time? It's not going to show up. They're going to say, well, Tanya needs more time. So you know what? Let's give her an extra 2 hours today. It doesn't happen. but we act like it does. And the longer we wait, this is the killer. Time keeps passing, and then we stay exactly where we are over and over and over again, and wonder why it hasn't changed and why it's everybody else's fault. No, it's our fault. We have 24 hours in the day. Listen, it's a couple hours a day, right? It's earned daily pay working 2 hours a day or more if you choose, but it's 2 hours a day. It doesn't say you need 26 hours. Listen, you can do this course. Listen, this course is for you. Invest in $900. If you have 26 hours in a day, this is the course for you. Doesn't say that. 24 hours in a day, you pick the two that you want to work. It can be 15 minutes a day for eight 15-minute sections if you want. So we can't worry about perfection because you know why we want to be perfect? Because we're so afraid of what other people's opinion is of us. If other people's opinion of us has no value, why do we put so much value on other people's opinion? It makes no sense. But we're so worried. And listen, they're not even thinking about you at all. You know why? Because they're so worried about what other people are thinking of them. That's why. They're so worried about why other people are thinking of them that they're not even thinking about us. But we think if we don't make the perfect reel, somebody's going to make fun of us. Listen, we're not that important in other people's lives. I can guarantee it. You think they're going to be home for the rest of the day saying, I was on this thing and I saw this lady Amy did this video and it just made no sense. She's making all this money but she stuttered on a couple words and I couldn't believe it. You think you're going to be the talk of the town for the rest of the freaking week? They're just going to scroll right past. You know why? Because we do it. How many videos have you gone by? Go, that's dumb. Boop, 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 boop. Just go right by it. And the ones that you think are funny, or the ones that you think have value, you stop. Just like the ones the one that you signed up with the legacy program. Guess what? Something made you stop. What we're looking for are the people that stop. We're looking for our assignment. If that person goes by, listen, it's not because you had a bad video. It's because it wasn't your assignment. That person wasn't assigned to you. Your job, that's not the one whose life you were supposed to change. If somebody makes fun of you, that's not your assignment. You have to keep looking for your assignment. We can't worry. If you know something, I worked in a prison for 10 years. That's what I did. I was a prison guy. And the walls were built with the walls outside with steel bars and barbed wire and fences and all that stuff. It was a pretty powerful prison. You know what the biggest prison, the most powerful prison in the world is the self-made prison that we create in our own minds with the fear and the opinions what everybody else thinks about us. We create a self-made prison and we have the key to get out. But we spent our whole life in a self-made prison, the prison in our mind, because we're so afraid of the opinions of other people and the fears that don't even exist that stop us from doing the activities that we need to do to not only change our lives and to change other people's lives. That's it. So perfection, I know I spent a lot of time on perfection because I know most people think they're going to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to get started. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. People say, well, if I practice, I'll be perfect. No, because if you do the same thing, you're not going to be perfect. So don't worry about it, right? Here's the next one. And we talked about this briefly. I want to talk about it again. You already have what you need, but you don't believe it. You're thinking I'm missing something. I know what I'm missing. Motivation. I'm missing motivation. If Amy, I don't know how many days a week she gets in here, probably a couple days a week. If Amy would just get in this community 7 days a week, 7 days a week to motivate me, I'll be motivated. Well, that's great. What happens if Amy don't show up? Well, why didn't you do anything this week, Angela? Well, because Amy didn't motivate me this morning, so I didn't do anything. Listen, if the reason why you signed up for it, right? Maybe you want mom care instead of daycare. Maybe you want to get your husband or your wife out of a job. Maybe you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you're pissed off and you want to make changes and you want to do something about it. Doesn't that motivate you enough? How many guys have jobs? Like a lot of you have jobs and I don't know, maybe you love your job. I hated mine, driving to the prison, doing time on the installment plan. I freaking hated it. But you know something? You know what motivated me to get out of bed every freaking morning to go to a dump like that? I'm a single dad and I had to pay my bills and I had to support her. I didn't need any more motivation. That was motivation. Nobody had to call me every morning and say, hey, Roland, I just get motivated to go to the prison and work your butt off in that crummy, sweaty place to make some money. Nope. Self-motivation. Your desire to succeed has to be greater than the desire to stay the same. Once the desire to succeed becomes greater than the desire to stay the same, you don't need anybody to motivate you anymore. No, you'll light yourself on fire. And guess what? When you do, people will come for miles to watch you burn. So if you don't need someone to motivate you to go to a job or whatever it is that you like, don't think that they have to show up to motivate you. You have what you need. Oh, I need more knowledge. No, you need to do something with the knowledge that you have. All the knowledge is in the group. All you got to do is get in there. There might be some of you, I don't know, maybe there's some of you that haven't been in there for, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months. The knowledge is right there. And you can have all the knowledge that you want, but you know what they would call it? If you don't use it, you know what they call it? Shelf life. Shelf help instead of self-help. Oh, I'm reading this book. I'm reading this book. I read 30 books last year. Oh, you know, you're better off reading the same book 30 times. What good is it if you don't apply it? So if you think about it, so you learn something, watch. Like if you were walking, your right foot is you learn something, right? The left foot, you apply it. So if you're walking, you go learn, apply, learn, apply, learn, apply, learn, apply. A lot of us, here's what we do. We learn, and then we go around in a circle like that until we get so dizzy we quit. You got to learn it and you got to apply it. Oh, you know what? Here's one. I just need more confidence. If I just had more confidence, it doesn't work like that. If I just had more confidence, then I'm gonna make a reel. Amy, if I just had the confidence, I'm gonna make a reel. You guys got it backwards. You do the activity, you make the reel. As the more reels you make, you build the confidence. The more confidence you make, the more encouraged you are. The more encouraged you are, the more you take action. And it just becomes a vicious cycle. So you guys have been waiting so long to get no, I shouldn't say you guys. I don't know, but maybe because we all go through it, right? You've been waiting so long to find the confidence. You've been looking all over for it. Oh, if I just look in this book right here, I'll find confidence. If I just scroll TikTok for 2 hours, I'm going to find my confidence. Nobody was born with confidence. You know how you get your confidence? By doing it. And the confidence will come. So if you've been waiting for more confidence because you've been afraid, you got to have the courage. And I'm going to share this with you. Courage is not the absence of fear. The assessment of what you want is got to be greater than the fear itself. So courage, I'm not saying you're going to have all kind of courage and not be afraid. No, courage is not the opposite of fear. It's the assessment that what you want has to be greater than the fear itself. What do you want? Why? And if you haven't figured it out, if it's not deep enough, you better dig a little deeper. I want to make more money. Why do I want to make more money? Well, I want to be with my kids. Why do you want to be with your kids? So I can do this. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? You know why? And then when it comes right down to it, so they have memories of me when I'm long gone that they'll never forget. It's not about the money. It's about the what you leave for them. So don't worry about the fear is going to be there. I'm not telling you guys. But the best way to get rid of the fear is to face it because it doesn't really exist. It's all stuff we made up in our mind, and it creates one of the walls in the prison that we live in. Here's another one we do. We keep searching instead of starting. We look for a better plan. We look for a better way. Oh, if there was just an easier way to make the puzzle. There is no easier way. There is no easier way to do it. You just have to do it. If you're not using what you have, what makes you think something else is going to change anything? if you don't, if Michelle would just come out with this new thing, this easier way to do it, what makes you think that you're going to use that if you haven't even used what she already has? See, success isn't about finding the right piece. It's about making the one that you have work already. The piece you have is the legacy blueprint. She could come out with all these new things, but if you're not using what she has, what good is it? So you got to start using what you have, right? So let's back up a step. When you make a puzzle, there is no magic. Like I said, there is no magic thing. But what do most people do? They dump the pieces out and they make the frame of the puzzle. Those are the first pieces they look for. Pretty much everybody, right? You got to have the frame. That's pretty much the basics. I would say 100% people start with the frame. But For you guys, here's the frame: community, Amy's community, the webinars, the live trainings that they do a couple days a week, the videos that are in there. I could make frame after frame after frame after frame after frame. But you guys, for some people, they're not working. They don't have the frame set up. So when they dump the, you know what the pieces are? That 500 pieces. I'll tell you, they are. Those are your goals. Those are your dreams. Those are everything you want. That's the puzzle, and it's a mess because you've never done anything like this before. But you don't even build the frame first. So you have to use the pieces that you have, and you got to go, okay, let me make the frame. What's the frame? Getting on the training, learning a skill, applying the skill. That's the frame. And once you have the frame, then you could start putting the rest together. And I can tell you this, like I said before, nobody has, so the average person, if they sat there and did a puzzle all day, that's all they did. A 500-piece puzzle for a new person, 7 to 8 hours. A puzzle for a pro, a couple hours, maybe less. Same puzzle, same pieces. You know what the difference is? They did it when it was messy. They did it when they didn't feel like doing it. They did it when nobody was watching. They did it when they were frustrated because they couldn't find the missing piece or the piece where a piece went. And what they would do is they would keep looking at it. So in the box, there's a piece, the picture's on the puzzle, but there's also another piece in the box, like the same picture. So you can move it around. If you're working on one piece of the puzzle, you can look at the picture and go, oh, okay, this looks like that might be that piece. That's your dream. I said it before. I'll say it again. You gotta carry your dream with you. You got to take it with you. Do you have it on your phone? Do you have it in a notebook? Do you have it on an index card? What are your dreams? What are your goals? So you take it with you. Just like I would take that piece. Julie and I would take that piece of paper and I'd say, hey, pass that over so I could see where my piece is going. She'd say, give me that back so I can see where my piece is going. You got to have that in your hand. Like, where's this piece going to go? Where's this piece going to go? Oh, that's my dream right there. I want mom care instead of daycare. Oh, that's why I got to put this over here. So you just got to get started. Like I said, success isn't about finding the right piece. It's about making the right piece, the one you have, work. And this is probably the biggest one. We talked about this. I'm going to talk about it again. We compare ourselves to others. We compare ourselves to so many people way too much. We see somebody. So when Julie and I were making the puzzle, so I'd have a piece in my hand, and then Julie would have a piece in her hand, and she'd be working on one part of the puzzle. I spend more time looking for her piece. Like she had the piece in her hand, and I'm going, geez, I wonder where your piece goes. And then she's looking at mine and going, geez, I wonder where yours goes. Instead of just focusing on what we had, our own, we were like trying to figure out where each one of us. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like you look for your piece, I'll look for mine. You see somebody else succeeding, and you assume they have the right puzzle pieces, and you don't. That's like one of the biggest causes of failure is comparison to others. I don't know if you've heard this before, but comparison to others is the biggest thief of joy. Let me say that again. Comparison to others is the biggest thief of joy because when you compare yourself to others, you lose self-confidence, you create self-doubt, and you do all these things, and it steals your happiness. Now, comparison to others could be the greatest source of joy if it encourages you to keep moving. So in other words, you see Amy doing her videos, Amy's successful, you go, man, if a single mom with 3 kids working 18 to 20 hours a week, getting a couple hours of sleep can do this, if she can do it, I can do it. Comparison to others can be the greatest source of motivation or inspiration if you say, if they can do it, why can't I? Costs are the same content. I mean, same, everything that came in the legacy, there's trainings and all that stuff, exactly the same. You know what the difference is? I can guarantee, I'm pointing over here because I got another screen. I can guarantee you that Amy didn't give a crap what other people said. She could care less if anybody said, and I bet you, I haven't talked to her about this, I bet you she did it scared. Courage is not the opposite of fear. It's the assessment that what you want is greater than the fear itself. She didn't want to spend another summer being without her kids. She didn't want to spend another summer of her kids not knowing who their mom was. She didn't want to spend another summer or another day wondering how she was going to pay for her kids to go to college. Courage is not the opposite of fear. It's the assessment that what you want is greater than the fear. And Amy said, you know something? What I want is a lot better than what those idiots are going to say on TikTok. You can't, you got to look at what you have just start using what you have instead of making excuses. Stop looking at what others have and stop putting, oh, if I had a voice like Amy, I'd be, oh, I haven't, listen, I'm going to digress for a minute. No, I'm not. I'm just going to tell you like it is. So, so listen, you don't like your voice. Who cares? Like do you think for a second that God gave you your voice for you? See, if God gave you your voice for you, all you'd have to do is whisper to yourself. Your voice wasn't given to you for you. It was given to you to share your story and the mess, so your mess could be the message for somebody else. It was given to you to share with somebody else. Listen, you don't like your voice? Ask somebody that was born without one if they'd like to have your voice. Ask somebody if they were deaf, if they'd like to hear your voice for 2 seconds, because if they could, they'd say that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, I've ever heard. Oh, you know something, Roland? Yeah, but I don't like the way I look. Who cares? If your face was for you, it'd be facing on the inside. Your face was given to you for other people to see. It was given so other people could listen. Ask somebody that was born deformed, would they like to have your face? Of course. How about this? If somebody was blind and they got to see your face for 5 seconds, they would say this: "That's the face of an angel. That's the most beautiful face I've ever had." But we sit there going, well, "I don't like my face, and I don't like my voice. I don't like, so I'm not going to do a reel." Well, too bad. Stop being selfish. So other people are going to struggle the rest of their life. Your assignment's going to struggle because you don't have the guts to use the gifts and talents that God gave you, because you're more concerned about what everybody else is going to say than what God's going to say. Damn. You imagine you get to heaven, you go, God says, "Hey, how come you didn't use the gifts and talents and abilities I gave you?" Well, I was afraid what other people were going to say, and somebody made fun of my face, and somebody told me they didn't like the way I looked and the way I sounded. So you know what, God? I said, the hell with it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, so you were more interested in pleasing them than pleasing me. Terrible. And I'm not saying you guys are like that. I'm not saying that. But if the shoe fits, you got to wear it. Stop comparing yourself to others. Listen, we're all born originals, but most of us die carbon copies. You know why? Because we try to be like everybody else. Right? If I asked you all right now, who do you know Michael Jackson? You'd all say, "Yeah, of course, I know who Michael Jackson was." Absolutely. 18 of you would say, "I know who Michael Jackson is." Then I asked you, who's the number one impersonator of Michael Jackson in the whole world? If you guys could answer, everybody would say, "I have no idea." Yeah, you know why? Nobody cares about the duplicate. They only care about the original. Nobody cares. How about this one? We blame a missing piece. That's just an excuse. It'd be easier to say, "I'd be successful if this." And I go over this over and over again because this is the biggest thing we have, right? If I had this, then to admit, listen, here's the biggest problem. We don't admit that we're not using what we already have. Be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. What you are actually doing, are you actually doing the work? Are you actually doing your videos? Are you actually getting in the mentoring calls? Are you actually getting on the trainings when they have them for us? Like I said, I've never seen anything like that. I've been in network marketing for 30 years. And I've done some other trainings and stuff. I've never seen anything like this for the one investment, like one. It's not like it costs you $500 a month. It's like once. That's it, and everything's done for you. Thank goodness I was a prison guard. If I had to figure that stuff out myself, I wouldn't even signed up for it. To be honest, I wouldn't have done that. Amy wouldn't have done it either. She said that was her most was like, it's there, but we got to do something. Like I'll go back to God could have put the bridges over the ocean, but he said, "You know something? I got to give you something to do." he could have put the trees with already the fruit on them, but he said, "No, you got to plant the seed. You got to water it. You got to do something. Don't wait for something magically to just fall in place. Because listen, it's not going to. It's not going to. I remember when we were building the puzzle, we couldn't find one piece. Julie couldn't find one piece, and we still had like 300 pieces left to go. She couldn't find the one piece, and she's like, "I'm not doing any more of this puzzle until I find the one piece." And I'm like, "Well, just build some more of it." She's like, "No, I want to find this one piece of the puzzle." And guess what? I started helping her. She sucked me in to help her start to look at one piece of the puzzle, because when we start doing negative things, it's easy to suck other people in with us because people love negativity. You have to water roses, but you don't have to water weeds. They'll grow through the concrete if you stand there and watch them long enough, right? You wonder how that happens. It just does. So after a while, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting stuck in following the freaking finding this thing with her. And then she quit. She actually quit. Like she went and sat on the couch. I go, aren't you going to help me? And she goes, no. We didn't build this puzzle all at once. Like we did it a couple hours a day, half hour here, half hour there, 15 minutes here, just like you can build your business, right? She said, no, I'm not going to do it until I find the piece. And she didn't. That's what most of us do. We think we're missing a piece. We focus on what we don't have instead of I had 300 pieces left. She wanted to find one piece. So what did I do? Every time I walked by the puzzle, I put a few more pieces. I put another piece here, another piece here, another piece here. Then she said, hey, how'd you do all those pieces? I said, well, I stopped looking for the missing one. See, we focus on what we don't have instead of focus on what we do have. And we blame the missing piece. You can't blame the missing piece. Focus on what you do have. There's a reason why that piece is missing. There's a reason why you don't have it yet, because you're not ready for it. And then the other thing she would do, here's the other thing. You resist change because it's uncomfortable, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. There is no comfort in your success zone, but there'll be no success in your comfort zone. So you can stay in your comfort zone all you want. But let me ask you, is being comfortable doing anything for you? I think you might have signed up for the legacy blueprint because you are uncomfortable. But when something doesn't go your way, you go right back to the comfort zone. Most people would rather live in known hells than unknown heavens. They'd rather be miserable and know it than than take a chance at being of the unknown. That's why you see people in relationships they keep going back to. They keep going back to the life-sucking job that they hated. Like in 2020 when COVID came and everybody was sent home and couldn't work, digital marketing and network marketing and everything skyrocketed. Like it was probably the biggest boost in network marketing ever. You know why? Because people were looking for something and they're like, that's it, damn it, that job ever again. I'm going to work online. I'm going to start my own business, own my own life. As soon as it became a little difficult and they got the phone call to go back to work, they quit network marketing, they quit digital marketing, and they went back to work to that life-sucking job because they'd rather be living a known hell than unknown heaven. How about this? Maybe the piece of the puzzle doesn't fit where you expected it to. That's why you're uncomfortable. I remember Julie, I was putting some like she needs glasses, right? She needs glasses. And I was like, well, just wear my glasses. Here, you can use mine. And she's like, no. And that's the other thing. Like I could have given her my glasses. It wouldn't have done her any good because we all see things differently. See, you can't, if you want to change your life, you can't just change the frame. You have to change the lens. If I took these glasses and said, I don't like what I see in these glasses and put on different lenses, I mean frames, but put the same lens, I would still see the same thing. See, a lot of times in life, we keep we want to change things, but we're only changing the frame. We're not changing the lens. You got to learn to change the lens. So I'm putting the puzzle together and I'm going, this doesn't look right. And this doesn't look right. The heck? She put the wrong piece in the puzzle. I was like, what are you doing? She goes, well, it looked like it went there. So she forced it in there. A lot of times we try to force things in our business. We try to force things in our lives. We try to force things like other people's personalities and other people's ideas. And it's all right to use them. I'm not saying that, but we try to become too much like people. And if it doesn't fit, we jam it in there. And then we wonder why the rest isn't working. It's because I could have never finished the puzzle if I didn't remove the bad piece. Every part of your life is a piece of your puzzle. Every one of your dreams is part of those 500 pieces that I talked about. Every one of those. How about this? You're not seeing the bigger picture. You don't see the bigger picture of what's possible. And if you don't see what's possible, you're not willing to go through the changes and the obstacles and the setbacks and all those things. You're not willing to do it because you don't see the big picture. It's progress isn't about a big move. It's about making a lot of small ones. I couldn't have made that 500 piece puzzle all at once. It took one piece after another after another. You don't finish a puzzle by staring at the missing piece. Let me say that again for you guys. You don't stare at a puzzle. You don't finish a puzzle by staring at the missing pieces. You don't finish a puzzle by just staring at the missing piece. Nope, not going to happen. The puzzle would still be on the table. You use what you have. Listen to this. One at a time. until it starts coming together. Not 5 pieces at a time. That 500 piece puzzle went to piece at a time, not 500 at a time. And that's how success works too. One piece at a time. And I'll leave you guys with this. Happiness isn't about finding more. It's about using what you have. You think you'll be happy when you make more money. You think you'll be happy when you find the perfect relationship. You think you'll be happy when you make 50,000 a month. You think you'll be happy when you get 5 sales in one day. You think you'll be happy when you get this. But let me tell you this, fulfillment doesn't come from more. It comes from making the most of what you already have in front of you. So that puzzle that we were putting together, that 500-piece puzzle, that I ended up doing most of it on my own because Julie was still mad about the missing piece. When it was finally all put together, she said, "How did you do that?" And the piece was still missing, by the way. She said, "How did you do that?" I said, "Julie, because I kept walking by it and I didn't focus on the missing piece. I just would walk by, I'd find a couple things, put it together. If I couldn't figure it out right away, I spent a little more time. And then after a while, piece by piece by piece. That's what's the best part about a puzzle is the more you work at it, the more pieces you put together, not 5 at a time, 1 at a time, like I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. It gets easier as you go because now you have a flow and now you figured it out. And it gets piece after piece after piece. And she's like, "Man, that's unbelievable." And guess what? That missing piece, it had fallen under the table, it had fallen on the floor, and it had fallen under we have a water dispenser, it had fallen under the water dispenser. But the reason why it was the last piece to put in, it wasn't meant to go in until the end. See what you're going through right now, piece by piece by piece, it's all about coming to the end. Like you'll get to exactly where you're supposed to be. But I'm going to say one more thing. It all starts with the frame. The framework is showing up on Amy's things. The framework is showing up on Michelle's things. The framework's getting in the community, posting here and there. Like it even gives you a little thing, so it tracks level 1, level 2, comment on other people's stuff, acknowledge other people's stuff. Don't let jealousy get you. If somebody says I made two $900 sales and I've been for 3 weeks, congratulations. You know why? Because if they can do it, it's going to happen for me, and it's going to happen for you too. So the bottom line is this: stop searching for what's missing and start using what you've got. That's how you win. Amy, back to you.
Wow, 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 wow. I'm telling you, you guys, I knew you guys would just like eat him up, right? Oh, you're so amazing. I do have one question for you though.
Yeah.
Okay. Inquiring minds want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you really talked a lot about focusing on what isn't working instead of what is working and the missing pieces and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where many of us go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is something or one thing out of maybe many things that you do for yourself when you get in that negative headspace, in that negative mindset where I can't do this? I want to walk away because I can't find that one piece that I'm looking for. What is something that you do to flip the
Okay,
switch?
so I do a couple things. Number one is I always remember why I started something.
Ooh.
Like I remember why I want to do this. And believe me, when I tell you this, what I want to achieve, I started 30 years ago with network marketing. And I can tell you my ups and downs with that, going from 200,000 to zero, to building it up again, to going down to zero. I could tell you story after story, but the reason why I started this years ago, it hasn't changed. Like years ago, it was so I could, my daughter at the time was 2, now she's 32, but it was so I could create a lifestyle for her. So have I reached the ultimate?
Was a single dad.
Yeah, I was a single dad then. I had I was a single dad since she was 2 to, and then she got pregnant at 15. Amy knows my story.
Yeah.
Her mom brought her to the abortion clinic. I said, "No, don't do that. Life is not what happens to us. It's how we respond, right? 10% of life is what happens. 90% is how we respond. Most people spend 90% on what happens and 10% how we respond. You'll never get ahead." So I brought her home. Her mom kicked her out and because she wouldn't go get an abortion. I said, "Come live with me." So I brought the baby up for 3 years. Now my granddaughter's 16 years old. My daughter's so successful. It's unbelievable. because it doesn't matter what happens to us, it's how we respond. And so that was one of the things. And the other thing, Amy, is now when I worked in the prison, I'd been there since, I'd been there for 10 years or whatever it was. And I was so negative. You know what I mean? Like a lot of us have jobs where you can get around some positive people, but can you imagine you got a couple hundred guys going to work that hate their job? Then you got 1,500 inmates in there that hate being there. Then you got the brass that's all against us anyway. And it's
Yeah.
not a place to be. There was no air conditioning. It was like 100 and some degrees. The wax on the floors would turn back to a liquid form because it was so hot. They condemned it not long after I left. Like it was that bad. Like no running water in the cells, no nothing. But so it was so much negativity. So when I got started with network marketing, one of the first things I learned, and it's just like this, it's 90% personal development, mindset, and the other one's the activities that you guys do. My friend said, you got to get your personal development. And I said, well, I've been going to the gym for years. I am personally developed. I didn't know what it was. He said, no, you got to work on your mind. And the first one I met, I met Jim Rohn quite a few times. If you guys don't know, if you don't know who he is, I encourage you to go on YouTube, Jim Rohn. I would encourage you to listen to him. He passed away, I think, in 2009, but I get to get mentored by him for a while. And and I remember going out to California, and there was 3,200 of us. I was brand new, and I felt like he was talking to me. And one of the things he said was, and I'll never forget it. He said, people, and he didn't say these exact words, but he said, people say, when my husband changes, I'll change, or when my wife changes, or when my job changes, or when my boss changes, I'll change. When this changes, I'll change. When this changes, I'll change. He said, you have it all wrong. He said, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. He said, and then when you change, everything around you is going to change. He said, but here's the thing. They all stayed the same. Everything stayed the same. You see things differently. So it changed my mindset. So instead of going to work and say, they make me work overtime and they make me work the weekends and they make me not have Christmas off with my daughter. I said, no, I chose this. I chose to do this. Like they're making me do it because I chose to be here and said, you can do with me whatever you want for 8 hours because you pay my check. So we have to switch how we think. So I listen to personal development every day. I've been doing it since 1995. I teach it. I know what to go back to. And I'll share this. I know it's a long answer, Amy, and I apologize, but
Okay.
so when my daughter got pregnant, this will fit right in. So when my daughter got pregnant, she came to see me first. Now, as like I said, people are like, you're kind of a mean looking guy. So she sat down and she said, she had told me I was actually at a Patriots game when she texted me. And I just knew, you ever get those text messages or the phone call and you go, oh, something doesn't seem right. And she said, I messed up. And she said, and she came from a very good background, Christian background, all that stuff, with Catholic school, and things happen in life. And I remember sitting there going, oh, this is the first thing I thought. My life is screwed up. Her life is screwed. The baby's screwed. And the biggest one, what are other people going to think about me? What are other people going to think about her? That's what really kills us, right? Then on the way home, I said, you know something? Life is 10%. Like, because I've been listening to it for so long, I was like, life is 10% what happens to us, 9% how we respond. I got a 15-year-old pregnant girl, no fault of my own. Must be God's plan. Let's figure it out. So she came to my house. We talked. I go, I have no idea how we're going to do this. At that time, I was 45. I'm like, there's no book on it. I can guarantee you that. How to raise a 15-year-old as a single dad. And so we discussed it. And I said, it's not going to be easy, Tor, but her name's Tori. I said, but we'll figure it out. And like, I've learned so much from her. Like, it always gets me, right? So anyway, so as she's leaving the house to go back to her mom, she goes, can you do me a favor? I said, what's that? She said, can you tell my mom? And I said, hell no. I'm not. Listen, I said, I worked in a prison and I worked in a nightclub, got fights every night. I wasn't afraid of that. Telling your mom, I'm scared to freaking death. I said, you have to tell her because you got to be responsible for something and I'll help you out. So, I tell people that story, and for 3 years, like I co-authored a book about it, and when I go do my trainings, I incorporate my trainings, and people would always come to me, Amy, and say, why did she tell you first? I said, I'm her dad. They said, no, you don't get it, do you? I said, no, I don't. They said, any 15-year-old pregnant girl is not going to go tell her father that his daughter is pregnant. They're going to go tell the mother and then ask the mother to tell the father. I said, I don't know. She just told me first. So I asked her once. Finally asked her, I said, why'd you tell me first? I said, people are asking me everywhere I go. She said, I knew what you were going to say. I said, how'd you know that? She said, because I remember the stack of books that were back on in the bathroom on the back of the toilet that you would read when you were in the bathroom. And I remembered all the the CDs and stuff with Jim Rohn and Les Brown and that you listened to in the car all the time over and over and over again. She said, so I knew when I told you, I knew what you were going to say.
Mm.
See, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you that are going through the challenges and you're letting the negativity and the obstacles and the setbacks stop you. It's because you don't have enough in here and you don't have enough in here. If you fill yourself up every day with that, a few minutes a day, now when something comes up, you know how to respond instead of react. So if I wouldn't have responded the same way if I didn't work on myself for all those years. So when the challenges come, you know exactly what to say. So personal development and remembering why you'll never, that was a very long answer, but I had to
Yeah.
tell it. So um
So, okay, personal development. Do you suggest like listening to podcasts? I mean, what are some things that well, it's like just a quick answer, like do you listen to podcasts every morning for 15 minutes? What is something that you can recommend that is good?
okay, yeah. So I listen, there's so many different podcasts, Amy. So I don't want to tell them, that you
Sure,
okay, you have to listen
sure.
to this one, but find something you like. And so you
Mhm.
listen to a podcast. So when the best way to do it is when you start your day. Like start your day on a positive note. Before you scroll and before you watch, the news or whatever it is, listen to something good or read something good. So, like, I have a book, I read maybe 15 minutes a day of a book, and I read the same book over and over again. If I'm listening to an audiobook, I'll listen to the same chapter over and over again. It's not how many books you read, it's what you do with the information that you read out of the book. So, you can read the same book or the same chapter. I do that. And then, I'll go on YouTube and I'll listen to anything positive. Like, if I'm at the gym, my thinking is this, and this is my own style, is really the only music I listen to is Christian music because, and that's just my own opinion, you know what I mean? Because I want a country a little bit, but I want to find something that's going to feed my mind, or like good stuff. I want to plant good
Okay,
things and plant good
right
things.
there. Let me stop you right there. You just said it. You're feeding your mind
Hmm.
with positivity and only good things.
Hmm.
And that's part of it. That's the biggest part of it,
Yeah.
right? Starve the negativity, but feed the positivity.
Yeah. You want to put sand in your gas tank.
Right.
So
Right.
so if you just, and that's what I do. Like when I go to the gym, I'm there for like an hour and a half. There's one little Christian podcast I listen to for like 8 minutes, and then I listen to, I'll go, I know what I want to listen to ahead of time on YouTube. I find something that resonates with me, and a lot of the times, Amy, I listen to things that I know. I said, okay, this is something that can help other people. Not only will it help me, but this is information that if I learn it, I can help other people with it. So I try to grab something out of every. I don't. I read it to absorb it to use it. Like some people read it to just absorb it, and then it just stays dormant. Whatever I learn, I try to like be able to use it in my daily life. So when people get stuck with it with something, I can help them too.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Like, let's say you get up and you read a chapter and it gives you something and you take that in and then you even go create a video on
yeah,
what you just learned
absolutely.
from that, right? So you're taking in the positivity and you're also releasing it to others.
Yeah, and
Like
then you hear
that's
it.
good.
Yeah, and so you're right. You could just take, hey, something. I was just doing my personal development today, and I just came on this. I just read this quote that said, "Life is 10% what happens to us, 90% how we respond." That's so amazing. Like whatever it is, just to get people to think a little bit. And your words can change people's lives. Like we don't understand. Like even if they never get involved with your opportunity, like they don't buy your course, you could change somebody's life. Like really with your words. And who cares if they go do something else? It doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. If we don't focus on the sale, we just focus on whose life can I change today with a positive word, some information or some education that will
Absolutely.
make a difference in their life down the road.
Amen to that.
Mhm.
Oh, love it. All right, guys. So, few minutes here. Does anybody have any questions for Roland? Just go down to reactions and raise your hand if you have a question, and then I'll call on you guys. Yeah, Tammy.
Hello, hello. I was a little bit late getting here. Sorry.
No
Hi,
worries.
Amy. I
Welcome
haven't
to
seen you in a
replay
while.
up.
Oh my goodness, Roland, this is so good. Such good information. I absolutely love it. I resonated with your story. My mom was 15 when she got pregnant with me. My grandmother wanted her to have an abortion, and my mom
Wow.
moved out. So, but I love my grandmother. Once I was born, she, it was all good. Our oldest son started a nonprofit, Abolish Abortion in Michigan.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so he's Proud of him doing that. And our youngest daughter's name is Tori. So,
Oh,
Is it,
wow.
is it with an with an E at the end, or T-O-R-I?
well, her name's Victoria Joy, but we call her Tori because she's 13. So,
Well, you know what's funny is my ex-wife kept telling my daughter that I mean, when my daughter was going to be born, Tori, we were going to name her Victoria, and her aunt kept saying, "Well, we're going to call her Vicky, and we're going to call her this." And my ex-wife at the time, she would be so mad. I go, "Let's solve the problem. 10% is the problem, 90% is the solution. Let's call her Tori, then she can never call her Vicky." So that's
There
what
you
we
go.
did.
I know. That's our daughter. She's like, I don't like Vicky, but she loves Tori. She loves
Yeah.
Tori. But my question is, if you could you could recommend one book, what would that book be?
All right. So this is a book I've written about, and I'm reading it again. It's called Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. I mean, I
Okay.
could recommend some other books, but I just give you the one I'm reading right now.
Okay.
And what's the mission statement on that book right there?
Oh, I mean, I've never looked.
Secret of the Ages.
Oh, it's called The Secret of the Ages, the Master Code to Abundance and Achievement. It's unbelievable. It's so good. It was written, I forgot, years and years ago. So like, this is one statement he made right here. The only failure of mind comes from worry and fear.
Mhm.
That's huge. Like I highlight so many things, and then I'm like, how can I incorporate that in my life?
Who's that by again? Secret of the Ages.
Robert, Robert Collier.
Okay, one more time. Say it again.
Oh, sure. Robert, and then Collier. That's my Boston accent. Like we don't say stupid.
I-E-R. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Abundance and what?
The Master Code to Abundance and Achievement.
Okay. Got you. I just wanted to put it in the chat.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Bet.
much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have anything for Roland? Anybody? Everybody good? Anybody have any questions, statements, anything? No? Everybody's good?
You good?
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming to our community, and those I always open invite for these special guests. So we've got other people here that aren't in my community, and that's okay too, because I always open this up to anybody,
Yeah.
right? So I just really appreciate, and we're definitely going to have you back because
Whenever I told you that the other day, whenever you need me, I'll.
absolutely. And I really appreciate just to hear from you, because you've been through it, right? You've been in the negative, you've been through the mud, you've been through the muck, right? And
Oh yeah.
that
I've been through it.
much more to people like me that have been
Yeah.
through it too.
Yeah.
And to see that you've turned things around, and you're part of what we're all doing. And
Yeah.
and that's amazing. So I did see Lynn and Martha both raise their hands. So
Sure.
Lynn, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I just wanted to say thank you so much. This was just so inspiring, so uplifting, and I wanted to thank you for taking the time. So nice to meet you. My name is Lynn. I'm in Southern California, but I'm a New Yorker. You probably could tell by my
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm originally from Boston. I live in Ohio now.
Yes, you were about 5 minutes in before you said you were from Boston. I texted Amy and I said, he's from Boston.
Yeah. So I won't hold it against you, Lynn, that you live in New York, because you know how Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees are.
Anyway, thank you.
I thank you. I appreciate that.
Very,
Thank you.
very appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Martha?
Hi, thank you, Roland, for all sharing with us. That jumped into my spirit is that in the mornings I'm going to purpose to put on positivity as part of my outfit, a garment.
Yeah, Martha, for sure. That should be like, that's the thing I do every single day. Like I'm at the gym at quarter of 6 in the morning, but that's what I'm listening to. Like that's what's in my headset. So, and I'll listen to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Like I don't just once and absorb it. I got to listen to it. Like I said, I'll read the same chapter. I'm like, this is probably the 5th or 6th time at least I've read this book, and you don't have to read. Here's what you guys got to understand. You don't have to read a book cover to cover. Like say, okay, I'm just going to read 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I'm going to read a chapter because it's not about reading. It's about what can you pull from the pages that you read. That's the important thing because you'll read this book once, and then as you work on yourself next year, you read it again, you'll go, man, I didn't even realize that. Man, that jumped out at me that I didn't even notice the first time around. Because it all comes with the growth. It all comes with the,
Right.
like Amy was saying earlier, you plant a rose bush, it starts out like this, but over time it just keeps growing, and you say, wow, that's amazing. You know, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so. Oh, Tanya.
Hi, thank you. Hi, thank you, Roland, for being here. Really appreciate you here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I too have a mother that had me at 15 years old. So
Yeah.
can really totally really brought tears to my eyes just to how God has really blessed us. And because everyone told her I was going to be, she's going to fail. I was going to be ugly. We were just going to be everything. And we have just been so blessed our entire life. So I want to relate.
Her mom actually brought her to the abortion clinic.
Wow. Well,
And-
my grandmother,
and
my grandparents were pastor and wife, so that wasn't going to happen. But my grandmother did beat my mother
Yeah.
with a
Oh.
with a extension cord for being pregnant.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Worried
my
about what the people
ex-wife
would
gave
say
her a
in
good
church,
my ex-wife gave her a few good smacks and so when she brought it, I told her, whatever you do, just don't do it. And when the nurse asked her, are you all right with this? And she said, no, I'm not doing it. She said, why are you here? She said, my mother made me come. She said, your mother made you come? Yeah. She said, she's in the waiting room. And she said, she said, I know I made the decision. These are the consequences. I have to figure it out, and I will. And she walked out, and then the next day her mother threw her out. But you know, we can choose, we can make our choices, we can choose our choices, but we can't always choose our consequences.
Yes.
So we can choose what we're going to do, but we can't always choose the consequence. So when the consequence comes, we have to figure it out the best we can. You know what I mean? It's for everything in life. We just have to figure it out as we go. We can't dwell on something that happened in the past. Like, who cares?
Who cares?
Really, who cares? People, I tell people, use your past as a place of reference, not a place of residence. Like most people live in their past. You don't have to live there. You go back and go, okay, I'll do this different next time. I'll do this different. I learned from this. Maybe I'll do this different. You learn from it, but you don't live in it. Most people live in their past, and if you live in your past, you can never have a future because your past is right in front of you every single freaking day.
Mm-hmm.
Stop living there. Yeah. So
Absolutely. So my question is, what do you do to stop yourself kind of like from daydreaming? You know, just get into those moments. Next, thing you know, you realize that you just an hour went by.
so are you saying daydreaming? Or are you saying like procrastinating?
Procrastinating could probably all this part of the same family, but you just by yourself getting distracted. Just be stuck, you know, it's like I want to do things, and all of a sudden I think of something that's maybe not even more important, but it seemed at that time, but it's not.
Yeah,
So I
you know
find
something.
myself to write my little schedule down throughout my day so I can figure out how to spend a little bit more time on everything, so I can feel, I guess, more productive with my time and my 24 hours, if you will.
Okay, so one of the things is this. A lot of times when we find something else to do instead of what we should be doing is because you're afraid of doing that thing. Like even though you might not in your mind go, I'm afraid to do that reel. You're like, well, I'll go do this instead. So well, I was going to do the reel, but I had to fold the laundry. I was going to do the reel, but I got to empty the dishes because you can't have you can't have a full dishwasher before I make my reel. I got to. So it comes with a decision. Like you got to just make the decision that you go, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this, and this. And it's not like you're going to spend 8 hours. Like, so do you work?
I do.
Okay, what do you do?
I have my own skincare business, but I work on my terms.
Okay, have you ever
So
had
I
a
can
job
do, so I
before?
can do legacy.
Yeah. Have you ever had a job before where you've had to answer to somebody?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Were there times when what was the job you had?
I'm an esthetician. I've also worked for the hotel as a front desk person.
Okay, so you worked at the
spa. Yeah.
you were the front desk person. Okay. Were there days that you didn't want to be there?
Absolutely.
Were there days that you said, I just don't want to file those papers. I don't want to do this. You could just get up and leave.
Right.
Because if you got up and left, you get fired and you wouldn't get paid. And then you didn't get paid, you can't support your family. So I would sit there and go, okay, I got to make this real. If I don't get this real, there's no chance I'm going to make a sale. If I don't make a sale, I can't support my family. So I better do this before I go empty the dishes.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a decision that you make. You go, I'm just going to do this. But the biggest procrastination procrastination is one of the biggest things. And overwhelmed, people say I'm overwhelmed. They go, I'm so overwhelmed. You know how many times I've heard that when doing the calls for Fraser and stuff? I'm overwhelmed. Well, most people, when they get overwhelmed, they stop doing what they were doing because they're overwhelmed. Like they find something else to do. And then they find something else to do. Then they get mad at themselves because they didn't accomplish what they were supposed to do. And then because they didn't accomplish what they were supposed to do, they're not building their business. So my suggestion is, if you feel overwhelmed or you feel frustrated because your business isn't going the way you want, or you feel like there's too much, if you keep telling yourself you're overwhelmed and that's the result you're getting, stop telling yourself you're overwhelmed. Why would I keep telling myself? Because you become what you tell yourself all day long. So if you tell yourself you're overwhelmed, it just becomes a vicious cycle because you'll find all those ways. So if you turn it into fascination, you say, instead of overwhelmed, I'm fascinated with how much there is to learn. Instead of being frustrated, I'm fascinated with how come some people go faster than others. It'll change the game. So do you have kids?
I do, and grandkids.
Okay. So when your kids were little, if there was something, I'm sorry, Amy, I just got to take a couple more minutes if that's okay.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. So when your kids were little, even your grandchildren, right? If they wanted to go figure something out, if they wanted to go touch something or play with something or whatever it was, and you knew that they were going to get hurt, that it could hurt them, if they really wanted to figure that out, no matter how many times you told them no, they would just do it no matter what. Because what? They were fascinated. Now, if you wanted them to learn something, maybe build a puzzle or read a book or learn something new, and they weren't able to do it, they were like, no matter how much you wanted them to do it, they just couldn't figure it out. What do? They get mad, they either throw a temper, or they just give up and go do something else. You know why? Because in their mind, they don't know what overwhelmed or frustrated is, but that's exactly what they are. So instead of being fascinated and like a little kid, like they were in the first example, they become frustrated or overwhelmed and they just give up and go do something else. They don't know the difference. We're like kids. If there's something that we like, we keep doing it. If it's something that's overwhelmed, we just give up and go do something else. So why can't we it's only a word. Turn fascination into frustration or overwhelm into fascination.
Fascination. Mm-hmm.
That's it. You guys catch yourself going like this? Oh, what if they don't like me? What if they make fun of me? What if they do this? What if? Put the word so in front of it. What if are two words that just mean nothing, that we put them together and they make us stop doing things that we could do that would change our lives, right? What if the reel doesn't come out good? What if my hair isn't right? What if they say this? What if whatever. What if stop more people in life? What if two words put together that mean nothing stop most people from accomplishing what they want to achieve? If we just take the word so, S-O, and we put it in front of what if, now we go like this. So what if my reel sucks? My next one won't. So what if people make fun of me? I don't know them anyway. So what if people call me stupid? I call myself stupid sometimes too. Who cares? So you just put the word so in front of what if, and what if will never stop you again.
Amen.
Thank you. Amen is right. Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, I just am loving all of this, right? And like I said, Roland will be back with us. This has been awesome. Roland, I really, really appreciate all your wisdom, and your analogies are amazing. I think I got 2 pages of notes. I don't know about everybody else, but you're a lot like me, little catchphrases. I wrote them all down. I got all your little catchphrases. I've been putting them in the chats for everybody. It's just amazing to have you, and I just appreciate you. So
Well, I appreciate you too. And like I said, if there's anything I can do for you, I'll be
absolutely.
happy to do it.
Thank you so much. Everybody have the rest of the evening, afternoon. Have an amazing day. And like I said, Roland he'll be back. He'll be
Whatever
back.
you need.
All right, guys. See you later.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.